The bloody battle for Bakhmut appears to have prompted a spike of up to 30,000 Wagner and Russian regular troops killed or wounded, about 800 deaths for every kilometer covered during the attack. However, Ukrainian troops also suffered heavy losses, even if Kyiv said for every soldier killed, Russia lost 7. The Ukrainian Defense Forces destroyed the Russian invaders' sabotage and reconnaissance group in the direction of Swadov. Border Guard operators spotted a dozen invaders walking near a forest path, determined the exact geodetic coordinates, and reported them to the artillery of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. After several explosions, the two interventionists ran in opposite directions. On the way to one of the occupied villages, Ukrainian troops also destroyed modern tanks and armored fighting vehicles of the Russian invaders. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported last day that Russia has lost 170 troops in Ukraine since the start of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. The military said that Russian troops suffered 1,020 casualties over the past few days. Meanwhile, Russian troops conducted several dozen sorties each day. There were 32 exchanges of fire over the past day in and around Bakhmut. There were also airstrikes launched by fixed-wing aircraft and attack helicopters. Ukraine says Russian troops are continuing to bombard the Donetsk region, with more than 200 attacks on the Bakhmut region alone in the last 24 hours. But they claim Russia is losing hundreds of people every day on the front. The commander of Ukraine's main ground force, Colonel Alexander Syrsky, said his troops would soon begin counteroffensives after enduring Russia's brutal winter campaign. He said Russia's Wagner mercenaries, who were at the forefront of Moscow's offensive in eastern and southern Ukraine, were losing considerable strength and running out of steam. There was no immediate response from Russia to suggestions that its forces in Bakhmut were losing momentum. But Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin issued a statement in recent days, warning of a Ukrainian counterattack. On Monday, Prigozhin published a letter to Russia's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, saying that Ukraine aims to cut off Wagner's troops from the regular Russian army. Reuters reporters near Bakhmut's northern front line saw signs consistent with the notion that Russian attacks in the area could be waning. In a Ukrainian-held village west of Soledar, on the northern outskirts of Bakhmut, the Russian bombardment was noticeably less intense than the previous 2 days. Bakhmut has been controlled by Ukrainian and Russian troops, as well as mercenaries from the paramilitary Wagner group, since last summer during the 13-month war. Soldiers on the front lines are reportedly at risk of accelerated death there compared to other areas. The Ukrainian Armed Forces have released a video they say shows their troops fighting off an attack by the Moscow-backed Wagner mercenary group on Bakhmut. The State Border Service of Ukraine released a clip in which it says soldiers target mercenaries with a grenade launcher amid heavy fighting in the city of Donetsk. There is also some video footage showing ongoing street fighting firing rocket-propelled grenades at Russian mercenaries. Meanwhile, the Institute for the Study of War said the pace of Russian operations around Bakhmut appears to be slowing amid reports that Russian troops may try to launch an attack in another direction. Wagner's group, which is believed to consist of Russian mercenaries and private military contractors, has been a key player in the conflict, supporting Russian-backed separatists in the Donbass region. However, with its dwindling power, Ukraine saw an opening to turn the tide of the conflict in its favor. Russia has made several kilometers of gains in the northeast and is likely to try to retake Kupiansk, according to British military intelligence. In its daily briefing, the Ministry of Defense said that Russia had partially captured the approaches to the eastern Ukrainian city of Kreminna after its troops were pushed back from the area earlier this year. In some places, Russia has gained gains of up to several kilometers. military intelligence said in the update, adding that Russian commanders may try to expand the security zone and also try to recapture the Kupiansk logistics center in Kharkiv. Meanwhile, Ukrainian troops repelled a total of 79 attacks from Russian troops yesterday, the Ukrainian Armed Forces said in an update. In a statement on Facebook, the military said it had carried out 12 attacks on Russian temporary bases over the past 24 hours and destroyed one base for Russian troops and equipment. The latest reports come as bitter winter weather, followed by mud as the ground thaws, continues to prevent major changes to the battlefield. But Ukraine is now starting to receive modern weapons that could assist them in the reported counteroffensives. Ukrainian troops have set up unmanned aerial vehicles in positions near the front line in the Zaporizhzhia region. Russia this week defended its long-range attacks using artillery, missiles, and drones. The death toll from Wednesday's Russian drone strike on a high school and boarding school south of Kyiv rose to 9, Ukraine's emergency services reported. Alexei Danilov, Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, said no time limit could be given for a counterattack by Ukraine. Russian troops are increasingly using drones in aerial combat over the hotly contested city of Bakhmut, but the threat of fighter jets and helicopters remains and more Western weapons are needed to counter them, the Ukrainian army says. In a small hamlet west of Soledar, a town north of Bakhmut that is now under Russian control, troops from the anti-aircraft unit in Ukraine's 10th Mountain Assault Brigade plan to use drones to attack Russian positions.